At Lincoln High School, Madison Torres was a quiet student, 17 years old, small build, shy. The school bullies had marked her as an easy target. That Monday morning, when three bullies cornered Madison in the classroom and started cutting her hair, Madison could only cry. Other students were watching. No one was intervening. But the bullies had no idea that Madison's sister Sophia was the UFC women's Bantamweight champion and that she made anyone who hurt her sister pay the price. The same scene repeated every day in the corridors of Lincoln High School. The strong oppressed the weak, and the system turned a blind eye to it. Madison Torres, at 5 feet 2 inches and 106 pounds, occupied the lowest tier of this ecosystem. Her brown hair reached her shoulders, and her shy gaze hid behind large glasses. Madison's biggest mistake was drawing attention while trying to be invisible. Every morning she would clutch her backpack tightly and try to walk through the corridors, keeping her eyes on the ground and carefully avoiding eye contact with anyone. But for Jake Morrison and his gang, this behavior was like a sign on her forehead, reading, "Easy Target." Jake was one of the school's most popular students, 18 years old, 6 feet 1 inch, broad-shouldered basketball player. He always had two loyal minions by his side, Tyler Chen and Mason Rodriguez. The trio sat at the top of the school's social hierarchy and constantly felt the need to display their power to maintain this position. The bullying directed at Madison had started with small things, bumping into her shoulder in the corridor to make her drop her notebooks, pushing her in the cafeteria line, locking her in bathroom stalls, and making her wait outside. Each time, Madison would silently let her tears flow inside, and when she returned home, she wouldn't tell her mother Carmen anything. Carmen Torres was a strong woman, raising 2 daughters alone. She worked as a nurse at the hospital and wasn't home during night shifts. Madison's older sister Sophia had left the city for university 3 years ago and rarely came home. Madison felt completely alone. That Monday morning, everything started differently than usual. Madison had arrived early to math class and was sitting in the front row reading her book. When Jake, Tyler, and Mason entered the classroom, the shiny appearance of Madison's long brown hair caught Jake's attention. "Hey, princess," Jake said mockingly. "What beautiful hair, like a horse's mane." Madison continued reading her book without looking up. This lack of reaction provoked Jake even more. Tyler and Mason surrounded her. "We're talking to you, are you deaf?" Tyler's voice was harsh. Madison tried to close her book with trembling hands, but Jake was faster. He grabbed the book and threw it to the floor. Other students had started filling the classroom, but none of them considered intervening. Everyone was afraid of Jake. "Such long hair really isn't practical," said Mason, pulling small scissors from his pocket. "Let's shorten it a bit, what do you say?" Madison's heart started beating wildly. "Please," she whispered. "I didn't do anything to you." But the determination in Jake's eyes showed that this wasn't just a joke. He reached for Madison's hair and gripped it tightly. When Jake's hands gripped Madison's hair, the silence in the classroom was terrifying. Only Madison's increasingly rapid breathing could be heard. Tyler handed Jake the small scissors he had taken from Mason. "No, please." Madison's voice was breaking. "I didn't do anything to you." Jake took the scissors and cut the hair tuft on Madison's left side. Snip. Brown hair fell to the floor. Madison's scream filled the classroom, but the teacher hadn't arrived yet. Other students watched in shock, but none took action. "Wow, it looks much better," Tyler said, laughing. "Let's cut the other side too, make it symmetrical." Madison tried to escape from her desk, but Mason was holding her. Jake cut the second tuft. This time a large piece of hair was cut from Madison's right side. Now Madison's hair looked terrible, one side long, the other short, uneven. "Stop!" shouted Emma Martinez, Madison's only friend from the back of the class. "This is going too far." Jake turned and looked at Emma. "Do you want to get involved too, Martinez? We can make you a barber too." Emma's courage broke and she backed away. Jake turned back to Madison. "Final touch," he said, and cut a large tuft from Madison's nape. This time the scissors scratched Madison's skin and a few drops of blood flowed. Madison was now sobbing. Her hair was completely ruined. Some places very short, some places long, blood traces on her nape. Just then the door opened and math teacher Ms. Rodriguez entered. She froze when she saw the scene. "What's happening here?" she asked in a stern voice. Jake immediately passed the scissors to Tyler, who quickly put them in his pocket. "Nothing, teacher. Madison was saying she wanted to cut her hair, so we helped. Is this true, Madison? Ms. Rodriguez asked. Madison couldn't lift the head she wanted to raise. Tears were flowing down her cheeks. She stammered but couldn't complete her sentence. Madison's a bit upset because her hair didn't turn out as expected, said Mason, but it was her own request. Ms. Rodriguez looked suspiciously, but there was no evidence. Okay, everyone sit down. Madison, go to the nurse's office and clean that wound. Madison stood up trembling. Looking at her scattered hair on the floor, she left the classroom. When she saw herself in a mirror in the corridor, she started crying again. Her hair was completely terrible. It would take at least 6 months to recover. The nurse's office was empty, but Madison didn't go there. Instead, she ran to the bathroom and continued crying in a locked stall. She took out her phone and tried to call her sister Sophia with trembling hands, but Sophia's number was busy. What Madison didn't know was that at that moment, Sophia was training for UFC 295 in Las Vegas, and her phone was on silent. If Madison could have reached her, she couldn't have known how harsh Sophia's reaction would be. When the second period bell rang, Madison was still crying in the bathroom. When Emma Martinez found her, Madison was in very bad shape. Madison, this went too far, Emma said. We should tell the principal. No, Madison shook her head. It'll get worse. Jake's father's on the school board. Emma was right, but so was Madison. There was no justice in this school. The powerful won. Madison didn't tell her mother Carmen anything that day either. She hid her hair with a bandana and said, I want to change my hairstyle. When Carmen left for the night shift, Madison started crying again. At midnight, Madison tried calling Sophia again. This time the phone was answered. Madison? Sweetheart, what happened at midnight? Sophia's voice was tired, but when she heard Madison sobbing, she immediately became alert. Sophia. Big sister. Madison couldn't find her words. What happened? Talk to me. Sophia jumped up. She had just returned from UFC training and her body ached, but the pain in Madison's voice made her forget all that. They cut my hair at school. Bullies. Madison couldn't complete her sentences. Sophia's breath caught. Who? Who did this? Jake Morrison and his friends, in class, in front of everyone, with scissors. Madison started crying again as she told the story. Sophia's face turned red. She hadn't felt this much anger, even against the most ruthless opponents in the UFC cage. Listen to me, Madison. I don't know their addresses, but I'll be at school tomorrow. No, big sister, it'll get worse. Jake's father doesn't know me. Sophia's voice was cold. But he will soon. Madison had never heard this tone from Sophia before. Her sister was always calm and protective, but this voice was different. This voice was dangerous. Sophia, please don't make noise. Let me just finish school and get out. No, Madison, this will end. I'm coming there tomorrow. After Sophia hung up, she called her manager, Dave Collins. Dave, I need to be in Los Angeles tomorrow. Family emergency. Sophia, you have a title defense in 2 weeks. You can't skip training. They touched my sister, Dave. I don't want to hear another word. Dave recognized the determination in Sophia's voice. This was the same voice he heard before she knocked out opponents in the cage. Okay, I'll arrange the driver, but don't cause legal trouble. I won't cause legal trouble, Sophia said. It'll be an educational visit. The next morning, Madison didn't want to go to school, but Carmen insisted. Madison had hidden her hair with a bandana. Her eyes were swollen. When Emma met her in the corridor, Madison's condition scared Emma. Last night my sister called, Madison said in a trembling voice. I told her what happened. What did she say? She's coming today. Emma's eyes widened. She had never seen Sophia, but from Madison's stories she knew she was a strong person. Maybe it'll be good. The first class was English. Jake, Tyler, and Mason were sitting in their usual places and laughing at Madison's condition. Hey, Baldy, Tyler called out in a low voice. What hairstyle do we have today? Jake was more ruthless. Maybe today we'll cut your eyebrows too. It'll be a complete set. Madison bowed her head and said nothing, but there was something new inside her. Hope. Sophia was coming. Just then an announcement came over the school speaker. Jake Morrison, Tyler Chen, and Mason Rodriguez, please come to the principal's office. The trio looked at each other. Jake shrugged. Madison probably complained. No problem, we'll handle it. As they walked down the principal's office corridor, they didn't notice the woman standing in front of Principal Cameron's office. Sophia was 5 feet 7 inches, athletic build, black hair, and green eyes. She was dressed casually, black jeans, white t-shirt, and sneakers. In appearance, she looked like an ordinary big sister. As the Jake trio entered the principal's office, Sophia studied them. She focused especially on Jake. He matched the profile Madison had described. Principal Cameron let them in. "Sit down. There's a complaint about you." "What complaint?" Jake tried to look innocent. Just then there was a knock on the door, and Sophia entered. When Sophia entered the room, at first no one understood who she was. Principal Cameron stood up. "Excuse me, do you have an appointment?" "I'm Madison Torres' sister," Sophia said in a calm voice. "I came to discuss what these kids did to my sister yesterday." Jake, Tyler, and Mason looked at Sophia. She didn't look threatening in appearance, medium height, thin, normally dressed woman. Jake leaned forward confidently. "Ma'am, your sister is lying. We just helped." "Shut up." Sophia's voice was cold and cut Jake off. "I didn't give you permission to speak." Jake was shocked. No one talked to him like that. "Who are you to give me orders?" Sophia slowly approached Jake. "Do you want to learn who I am?" Principal Cameron felt the tension. "Ms. Torres, maybe if we calm down—" "I'm calm," Sophia said, looking at Jake. "I'm just explaining why I came such a long way, because this young man cut my sister's hair with scissors and made her bleed." Tyler laughed. "Big sister, this is school. You can't fight." Sophia turned to Tyler. "Fight? I didn't mention fighting. I'm talking about education." Mason also got bold. "Education? Who are you, a teacher?" "No," Sophia said, smiling. "I'm the UFC Women's Bantamweight champion." Everyone in the room froze. Jake's smile disappeared from his face. Tyler and Mason looked at each other. "She's lying," Jake said, but his voice no longer had the previous confidence. Sophia took out her phone and showed her UFC official profile. In the picture, it said Sophia Torres holding the gold belt. "Notice the Torres surname, same as Madison's." Principal Cameron's mouth hung open. "Are you really a UFC champion?" 25-2 record. I won 10 of my last 12 fights by knockout in the first round." Sophia turned to Jake. "How much do you weigh, Jake?" Why are you asking?" "Don't worry, you're not in my weight class, but that doesn't matter." Sophia moved her hands in front of Jake. Very fast, Jake couldn't follow with his eyes. "These hands are considered registered weapons." Tyler backed away. "Is this a threat?" "No," Sophia said, smiling. "This is giving information. If you touch my sister's hair again, those hands will show you which of your bones they'll break." Jake jumped up. "You can't threaten me. Call my father." Sophia also stood up and was only a few centimeters away from Jake. Despite Jake's 6 feet 1 inch height, Sophia's presence diminished him. "You'll call your father," Sophia said very calmly, "and you'll tell him that UFC champion Sophia Torres' sister is being messed with. Then he'll go online and watch my videos, the video where I broke Mike Tyson's record in the first round. Then he'll tell your son, don't mess with that girl's sister again." Principal Cameron intervened. Okay, this got very tense." "Maybe not tense," Sophia said. "I was very calm. If I was tense, you wouldn't be here right now." Jake's face turned white. He had seen UFC knockout videos on YouTube. This woman really could knock people out in the first round. "I understand," Jake said in a trembling voice. "What do you understand?" "We won't touch Madison again. And we'll apologize." Sophia nodded. "Now you can go. Go find Madison." After the trio left the room, Sophia talked with the principal. "These kids have been systematically bullying my sister for 6 months. You haven't done anything." Principal Cameron went on the defensive. "Ms. Torres, this is a serious accusation." "Not an accusation, a fact. And if it happens again, I'll report this school to the media." The headline, "UFC champion sister bullied due to school administration's indifference," probably wouldn't look good. Principal Cameron's face paled. "I understand. We'll be more careful." Sophia went to the corridors to find Madison. Madison was sitting with Emma in math class, still hiding her hair with a bandana. When Sophia signaled from the door, Madison got up in surprise. "Sophia!" Madison ran and threw herself into her sister's arms. "Hello, sweetheart." Sophia hugged Madison tightly. "How are you?" "Better, now that you're here." "Take off the bandana, let me see," Sophia said gently. Madison hesitantly removed the bandana. The state of her hair angered Sophia again, but she didn't show it on her face. Your hair will be very beautiful. We'll go to a hairdresser, get a nice shortcut. You'll look very chic. Really? Of course. You're already beautiful. Hair's just an accessory. Just then, Jake, Tyler, and Mason appeared from the end of the corridor. When they saw Sophia, they hesitated but continued approaching. Madison hid behind Sophia. Big sister. Don't hide, Sophia said. You don't need to be afraid of any of them anymore. The Jake trio came to Madison's side. Jake looked very different. His confident manner had disappeared. Madison, Jake said with difficulty, I'm sorry. What we did yesterday was very wrong. Tyler also added, We're really sorry. It won't happen again. Mason nodded. We have no problem with you. Madison was surprised. These kids had never talked like this before. Accepted, Madison said quietly. Jake looked at Sophia. And we're sorry for bothering you too. Sophia smiled, but her eyes were cold. You didn't bother me. I just came to chat with my sister. The trio quickly moved away. Madison turned to Sophia. What did you tell them? We just met, Sophia said, and they learned who I am. You told them you're a UFC champion? Yes, and that I'll protect you from now on. Madison smiled. For the first time in 6 months, she felt truly safe. Big sister, this is very cool, but you can't always be here. I don't need to be, Sophia said, because now everyone knows who you are. You're Sophia Torres' sister, and Sophia Torres doesn't bully anyone, but she never forgives those who touch her sister. From that day on, everything changed at Lincoln High. The Jake trio started changing their paths when they saw Madison. Other students approached Madison with respect. Madison no longer walked through the corridors with her head down, and most importantly, Madison had learned her own worth. Sophia's power had given her confidence, but she had learned that the real power was within herself. Over the weekend, Sophia took Madison to a hairdresser. They got a short, chic haircut. When Madison looked in the mirror, she saw someone completely different, a strong, confident young woman. Is this me? Madison asked. This was always you, Sophia said. Now everyone can see it. The ending.